Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to truly understanding the complex world around us. Today, we're plunging into a topic that might sound maybe a bit dense at first. ISO 37301 Compliance Management System Audit Checklist. Now, hang on, before you zone out, think of this less like a dusty rulebook and more like a master blueprint. It's really the guide for organizations not just to follow rules, but to weave compliance right into their core, building something solid and ethical. Our mission today, to unpack this checklist, see what makes it tick, and show you how it helps companies navigate, that whole maze of regulations, avoid pitfalls, and build trust. Think about, say, a fast-growing tech firm facing tricky data laws. This checklist, it's their compass. Okay, let's unpack this.
That's a really good way to put it, a compass. ISO 37301 itself, well, that's the global standard for a solid compliance management system. But the checklist, that's where it gets practical. It takes this big standard and breaks it down into real, actionable questions. And it's not just for getting certified externally. Maybe even more vital, it's for internal checkups, finding gaps before they blow up, driving improvement. It's all about being proactive.
Right, so it's more dynamic than just a test. It helps companies keep improving. It takes this potentially overwhelming thing and makes it manageable. To really get how this blueprint works, I guess we need to start right at the beginning, the foundations.
Absolutely. The checklist kicks things off by digging into Clause 4. Context of the organization. Foundational understanding. Does the company truly get the ecosystem it's in, internally and externally? So like 4.1, understanding the organization and its context. Has the company really identified its internal stuff? Culture, structure, key processes, and alongside that, the external factors, legal shifts, social trends, politics, all the things that hit their compliance. An auditor isn't just looking for a list here. They want proof of real thought, a documented context analysis. It's about the company knowing itself and its world.
Okay, so it's not just enough to be in the world. You have to actively map it out. What about the people affected, stakeholders?
Exactly. That brings us to 4.2, understanding needs and expectations of stakeholders. Does the checklist confirm they've ID'd all the relevant players? Regulators, customers, employees, suppliers, the community. And crucially, have they grasped what these groups expect? Because that's often where compliance obligations really come from. Evidence here would be like a stakeholder map or a register.
What about when those expectations clash? Does that happen often?
Oh, all the time. Balancing those demands while staying compliant, that's a constant juggling act. It requires smart choices. Then, 4.3, determining the scope of the CMS. That's about drawing clear lines. Is the scope documented? What's in? What's out? Departments, regions, activities. A sharp scope statement avoids confusion down the road.
Makes sense. No gray areas.
Right. And finally, 4.4, Compliance Management System asks, is the system itself formally set up, implemented, maintained, meaning defined roles, processes, a way to keep improving it? Auditors look for a CMS manual or some kind of framework document. The real win from this whole first clause. It ensures the compliance system isn't just random rules. It's built for purpose, tailored to that company's world. It's the bedrock.
Okay, so clause 4 is like total situational awareness, got to know the ground before you build, but even the best blueprint needs good builders, right? Once you've mapped everything, who's actually steering the ship? Because a map needs a navigator, which I guess brings us to leadership.
Directly. Clause 5, leadership. This is where the standard is crystal clear. Compliance isn't something you just hand off. It needs active, visible backing from the top. For 5.1, leadership and commitment, auditors want proof, not just words. Is top management really showing commitment? Are they in the compliance reviews, putting resources behind it? Things like meeting records, where compliance is actually discussed and decided upon, that's key evidence. It's showing, not telling.
Walking the talk. I bet that's a hurdle for some companies.
It can be.
Yeah.
It's easy to say it's important, harder to live it. Then 5.2, compliance policy. Is there a formal policy? Is it communicated effectively company-wide? It should clearly state the organization's commitment to comply. It's that core declaration.
So not just a document gathering dust. It has to be like a living mission.
Precisely. And 5.3, roles, responsibilities, and authorities. The audit checks that compliance rules are clear, documented, understood. You often see a responsibility matrix here showing who does what. But maybe the deepest part, where the real culture gets built, is 5.4, compliance culture. Is there active, intentional promotion of ethical culture at all levels? Think ethical culture surveys, solid whistleblower channels, ways to report concerns without fear. It's not just about stopping bad stuff. It's fostering an environment where doing the right thing is normal.
That's huge.
It is, because you can have all the policies you want, but if the culture doesn't back it up, They're just paper. So this clause checks leadership and those crucial, sometimes intangible culture efforts.
Wow, yeah. So compliance isn't just rules, it's the whole mindset. Okay, from leadership, let's shift to being proactive. Planning. It can't just be about reacting when things go wrong. How do companies actually plan for what might be coming?
That's exactly Clause 6. Planning. It's all about foresight. How do you spot and deal with compliance risks? How do you set goals? So 6.1, actions to address risks and opportunities. The key question is, are risks and opportunities systematically identified, assessed, addressed? We look for things like risk assessments, treatment plans. What's interesting here is that the best companies don't just react. They do things like pre-mortems, imagine failure modes, then build defenses, predicting the unexpected.
That's smart, like stress testing your compliance before the real thing hits.
It really works. Then 6.2, compliance objectives and planning. Are there measurable goals? Documented. SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. The tricky part is making them genuinely measurable without getting lost in bureaucracy. We'd look for tracking records.
Right, goals you can actually track.
And finally, 6.3, planning of changes. Is there a process for handling big shifts? A new product, a merger, a major law change. Change logs are key here, showing compliance was considered upfront, not bolted on later. This whole clause just confirms risk-based thinking is actually happening throughout the system.
Looking around the corner, basically. Having a plan. But plans need support, right? Resources, training, communication. What's needed there?
Absolutely. That brings us to Clause 7, support. This covers all the necessary infrastructure and the human side of things.
Yeah.
7.1, resources. Simple question, complex answer. Are there enough resources? People, money, tech.
Yeah.
And are they demonstrably allocated? You'd look at resource plans, budgets. It's about having the right people with the right tools.
Okay.
Then 7.2, competence. Are people trained? Is their compliance, competence checked, validated? Training records, certificates, maybe performance reviews. The challenge is often getting beyond basic awareness to real understanding of why it matters to their job.
Yeah, that's a key difference, knowing what versus knowing why.
Exactly. So 7.3, awareness, checks that. Do employees know their obligations?
Yeah.
And importantly, the consequences of not complying. It's about engagement. Records of awareness sessions review surveys can show this. Then 7.4, communication. Is there effective communication, internal and external? Is it structured, clear? Are there channels for questions? Feedback, communication logs and plans show this.
In a sense, open lines.
And lastly, 7.5, documented information. Are all the compliance records, policies, audits, everything properly controlled, maintained, versioned? Vital for accountability. Document control logs are the evidence. Basically, this clause confirms the system isn't just designed, it's equipped. It has the tools, people, and communication to actually work.
Okay, so with planning and support covered, how does this all play out in the, the day-to-day grind? How do you make sure theory becomes reality in operations?
That's Clause 8, operation. This is the real gut check. Are daily activities actually under compliance control? So 8.1, operational planning and control. Are the controls defined, implemented? Are they working? You look at process docs, SOPs, reports showing controls are followed. Like if there's a data privacy policy, do the IT processes actually enforce it?
Right. Does it actually happen?
Then 8.2, establishing controls and procedures goes deeper. Are specific procedures robust enough for everyday tasks? Think about employee onboarding. Are there clear steps for anti-bribery training, for example? You'd review control procedures, reports.
So it's about weaving compliance into every task, however routine it seems.
Totally. And super important today. 8.3, outsourcing and procurement. Is third-party compliance checked, monitored? Do suppliers and partners meet requirements? This is a common blind spot. You can outsource the work, but not the compliance risk. Auditors look for supplier audit records, contracts. Your risk doesn't stop at your door. It goes down the whole supply chain.
That's a really critical point, especially now.
Definitely. So Clause 8 makes sure the rubber meets the road, that daily work, even by third parties, lines up with the standards.
Okay, vital stuff. But doing the work is one thing. How do organizations know if they're actually, succeeding? How do they measure progress and learn?
That's where Clause 9,
Yeah.
performance evaluation, comes in. This is all about feedback loops, measuring, improving. Under 9.1, monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluation, we check. Are metrics monitored, analyzed? Are KPIs used effectively? Are there dashboards, reports, data showing system performance? The challenge is often moving beyond just tracking incidents to measuring overall compliance health proactively.
More than just counting problems.
Right. Then 9.2, internal audit. Is there a formal program to regularly check the CMS's effectiveness? It's not about blame. It's about learning, improving. You look closely at audit reports, schedules. And 9.3, management review. Does top management regularly review the CMS? Discuss performance, drive improvements. Meeting minutes are key evidence here. This clause ensures the organization keeps checking its pulse, understands how it's doing, and makes changes based on data.
A continuous cycle then. Check, adapt, check again, which seems to lead right into the last piece. Continuous learning, growing, because nothing's perfect, right?
Exactly.
All right.
And that's the final clause. Clause 10, improvement. How does the organization learn from slip-ups? How does it actively seek to get better? 10.1, nonconformity and corrective action. When something goes wrong, a nonconformity is addressed properly. Documented corrective actions. Thorough investigations. It's not just fixing the symptom, but digging out the root cause so it doesn't happen again. Corrective action reports show this. It shifts focus from blame to learning.
Fixing the system, not just the instant.
Precisely. And then 10.2, continual improvement. Is there a formal process to keep enhancing the CMS over time? Maybe through benchmarking, new tech, updated procedures based on lessons learned, improvement logs, action plans show this commitment. This is where the CMS becomes truly alive, evolving, strengthening. It really prompts the question, though. How do you truly embed that learning deep in the company's DNA?
That covers all the clauses, a really thorough walkthrough. Before we wrap up, maybe quickly outline how a company actually uses this checklist day to day, the practical steps.
Sure. It usually breaks down into 3 phases. Before the audit, preparation is key. Gathering documents, setting objectives, assigning the audit team, letting departments know, setting the stage.
Okay, get ready.
Then, during the audit, the checklist is the guide. Auditors ask questions based on it, collect evidence, docs, records, observations, and document everything. Findings, good and bad.
The actual checking part.
Right. And then, crucially, after the audit, the work doesn't stop. Evaluate the gaps found, assign corrective actions, fix the root causes, and update risk assessments based on what you learned. It's a full cycle. Review, fix, improve.
Got it. A continuous loop. And there you have it. You've just taken a deep dive into the ISO 37301 Compliance Management System Audit Checklist. So what does this all mean for you listening? It means you now have a much clearer picture, I think, of the detailed thinking and structures behind good compliance management. It's clearly not just about dodging fines. It's about strategically building strong, ethical companies that earn trust, operate with integrity, and are ready for whatever comes next. Hopefully, this deep dive gives you a real shortcut to understanding that.
Absolutely. And while the checklist gives us this fantastic, detailed framework, here's something to maybe mull over. How does an organization ensure the compliance culture we talked about in Clause 5.4 really sinks in everywhere, goes beyond just policies and training, becomes just how things are done day to day? What could be the ultimate impact of that kind of deep-seated culture? Not just avoiding trouble, but boosting reputation, driving innovation, and really thriving in a world that's watching more closely than ever.